Ooh, all right. Better late than never. We had some technical issues. The flipping internet went down. Not quite sure what happened, but I am here. If anybody, I appreciate people bearing with me. We're gonna make this fun. We're gonna make this work because we are going to be talking about how this one tip, this beautiful tip that is probably gonna make lots of people uncomfortable, but you're gonna have to deal with it because you cannot skip this step. Because if you do skip it, you will be repeating it. This tip is something that it's not just about saving money and time. This is about creating a more positive self esteem, regardless of what you want to believe or what some of you might not know. Your self esteem is so important and it is everything about what you get in life. Because when your self esteem is higher, you ask for more money, you don't accept less. When your self esteem is higher, you don't accept the average, especially when you know that you deserve more because you worked for it. What's going on? I'm your host, by the way, Vernon Brown, and we are teaching you how to own your happy 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central, except for today, we're in a few minutes behind. And that is because we had a technical difficulty. Thank you for letting me know about my mic. I hope you can hear me good. And I was just told there is a delay. Is there a delay? I'm assuming not because I'm not seeing anybody say anything. All right. So this tip is something that lots of people have heard before, but we're going to be breaking it down to show you the impact of it. We know that we have passwords on our bank accounts. We got locks on our doors. You don't want people in your bank account. You don't want people knocking on your door and coming in your house, taking your family, taking your things, breaking your stuff, just disrespecting your stuff. We all universally understand why we have so many, restrictions, so many limitations on these things. We get that. One thing that befuddles my brain, entrepreneurs, please listen up. People in corporate America who are looking to go into the entrepreneurial world, please listen up. This is specifically, it applies to everybody, but it really applies to you. You need to practice having flipping boundaries. Boundaries, I don't understand why people do never protect their energy, why they don't protect their time. You need to protect those things and guard them the same way that you do your bank account and the same way that you do your house. Lots of times I see people have the best security. They got this going on with their credit report. They got this going on with that. But if that phone rings, no matter who it is, they will pick it up, knowing that that person, when you see them, you'll go, oh God, it's them. Because they're going to always have something negative to say. They're always going to have something that does not align with where you're currently heading. Some of these people might share your same reflection. They might share your same name. But I am telling you, you need to practice kind and caring boundaries. It does not hurt people. It lets people know what you will allow and what you will not allow. Boundaries, contrary to popular belief, do not have to make you a butthole to people. You can do a time boundary. You can do what you want boundary, what you do not want boundary in such a sweet way that people never catch it. I got 15 minutes here that I want us to talk about this, and I'm going to hit it hard. If you're paying attention, I just threw a time boundary out to you. A time boundary, for example, is you tell people how long they have, how long you have, and what's going to be accomplished. People, I tell my managers, I tell execs coming out there, if you are noticing that there are some people who are taking your time, we all have a long-winded friend who won't get to the point. Sorry about that, Instagram. Might be hearing that. Some of us need to realize that some people are more long-winded. By you telling people, hey, look, let's make the bet. It's just you said this 25 minutes that we got. It tells people, smart people hear this. And whether they're conscious of it or not, their eyes will look at a clock, their eyes will look at a watch, or their mind will start setting this there. It will do that. It is a time boundary. It makes people get to the point. And it might seem like it's rushing people. Great. Get to the point. Start prioritizing your boundary, prioritizing your time. If you know that, and I talked to lots of people about this leading up to the holidays, and I know technically we're not out of the holidays, but if you know your Uncle Junie is going to say something about politics, making this name up, I do have Uncle Junie now I think about it. Shout out to my Uncle Junie. Um, well, if you do notice that, and he does not do this, for example, but I'm just making, oh, your uncle, your aunt, we're calling that's their name, and you notice they're going to be talking about something that you don't want to be a part of, here's a boundary, a very easy one. Remove yourself from that place, remove yourself from that room. If you know that you're going to a place and you don't want to be there because what the subject typically is about, in your mind, say, I'm going to be here for 30 minutes. When you know that you got to go through some sort of hell for a reduced amount of time, all of a sudden that dread becomes happiness. You're like, oh, all I got to do is make it 22 more minutes. And then you get more excited about the holidays. You like and love these people. You care about these people. You don't want to see them harmed. But if you don't want to talk about X, set a time limit. The easy one is to set a time limit. You don't have to tell anybody this. You can just do it. Oh man, make something up. I'm not the biggest fan of lying. I do not believe in lying, but I am a big fan of protecting myself and my energy. Protect these things. If you know that you're having a conversation with someone, something that you're interested in, get up and leave. Make an excuse. I have to go to the restroom. Hey, oh my gosh, I'm late for an appointment. Oh my gosh, I need to make a call. Jump on Instagram, watch a video like this, right? But limit, it's a boundary. It's subtle. It's simple. Like, oh my gosh, let me excuse myself. Why? When you prioritize yourself, you recognize that we are all consuming something. We all have a diet. We all think about diet when it comes to, food, but think about your diet when it comes to energy, relationships. Think about that. You are taking that person in essentially and invite them into your world. Some people have different levels of access to you. When you are out there performing and you say that, oh my gosh, I'm leveling up my life, I'm gonna start making more money, I'm gonna start doing this, you don't need to be around any energy that does not benefit you. You do not. And if you're fine with that, that's great, but I'm not. When I first started out, I was overweight. And this is many, many, many years ago. And this just really stuck with me. Also, it's about the power environment kind of embedded in this too. I was overweight. I was chubby. I just felt so self conscious. I'm not making fun of people who do this, but I was the guy that would get into the pool with this shirt on. I just felt uncomfortable with myself. I was not happy. I was called the short, fat, stupid, ugly one. Those things became an identity to me. But when I decided that, hey, I need to do better, I didn't want to deal with high blood pressure. I didn't want to deal with diabetes. I didn't want to deal with just all these things that I saw lots of my family members going through. And I'm not making fun of them, but I wanted something different for myself. I had to have boundaries. I started protecting my goals. When you're going out there and you have a new goal to level up your business, level up your love life, level up your just relationship with your creator, you want to be very careful with who you share these things with. This is another boundary. Why? Because at the beginning of everybody's journey, we will be a bit more sensitive than what we all want to admit. Because it's kind of like when I was playing a game, my son got Pokemon for Christmas, and typically we are just like going in. We'll be playing like Mario Kart. It gets serious with Mario Kart. I mean, we're going, and he's just all in. And when we played the game, he's being really careful. He's watching his fingers, and it almost seemed like he was a different person, right? And if you got kids or you start a new game, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, okay, that's A, that's X, that's B, it's Y. 20 minutes ago, playing one game, he was just owning it. He didn't even look down, pressing this, pressing that. When you start something new, you are very more present. You're more aware because you don't want to make a mistake that's built into us. That's normal. But when you start something new, when you start something that might have made you like, oh, wow, I hope I can do this. It's the same thing. Guard it, protect it. You don't want anybody to say something to you like you should have known that. I can't believe you haven't figured this out. For some people, when you are saying, I want to do something better, it becomes them saying that, what are you trying to say? That I'm gonna be worse? They're not even conscious of this conversation, by the way. And to them, it will be an unconscious attack on them. It will be an irritant to them. If you are irritating someone and they find out your goals, they in some way, shape, or form, consciously, unconsciously, passive or more aggressive, are going to say something that's going to bother you. They could say something along the lines, well, who do you think you are? I just was talking about this earlier with someone. Lady wanted, again, she wanted to make some better changes on her weight. And her family told her that you think that you're better than us. Aaron, think about that. I want to lose weight. And then her family said, you think that you're better than us. Kind of makes you do one like, what? And when you hear those types of things, when you're early on in your journey, those things could really mess you up. When I first started losing weight and I first started working on my goals, I was tired of being self-conscious. I was tired of being made fun of. I was tired of feeling like, man, why do I don't feel good in my skin? That's a horrible feeling. No one needs to feel that way. Nobody. I don't care what size you are. You don't need to feel that way. It's such I gotta hide type thing. When you first come out of the shadows, you're a bit more sensitive to those things. And the statement now doesn't bother me, but early on it can. Protect your goals. God, I'm trying to go a little bit longer here. I'm so sorry. How long is this going? Okay, cool. But protect your boundaries, protect your energy. Make sure that you are putting yourself in an environment as you are doing these things of boundaries and you're practicing more and you're keeping yourself more positive. Put yourself in an environment where people are celebrating you and it's not bragging. Because if you're in an environment where people aren't doing much and they're not achieving much and they're not going after much, when you start talking about things, they're going to attack you like you would not effing believe it. Large amount of, I'll say 50%. Going off just random, 50% are going to attack you. Do you know how hard it is to think about jumping out of a plane with a 50% chance that the parachute won't open? You ain't gonna want to do it. And that's what happens when we get checked out on our goals. When people say some things, you're like, oh my God, if it's 50%, if it's 30%, that doubt could scare you. You're not familiar with what to do. Just like with the example of the controller. I hope if I jump out of this plane, this works. I hope if I press that button that, I don't mess my dad up or I don't mess my son up. You thinking all these things unconsciously. Who wants to make a mistake? So when you first get started out with something, protect your goals. Be around people who are doing things that you can be like, hey, I'm doing this, and they can celebrate it. Don't be around people who look at it like, oh, why would you want to do something like that? As you create in this environment, make sure that you do not isolate yourself. Find communities of people who are working on the things that you want to be doing. When I first started running, when I first said I want to run a half marathon, majority of people, when I worked as a bartender, shout out to all my bartenders out there, well, former bartenders and current bartenders. We deal with a little bit more than average people because we're in the center the center of attention. But when you first start doing those things, it's real. And then you got people who are looking at you. Well, why do you want to do that? Why? That's why we have cars, and they're making all these jokes. They're making all these jokes about like, well, just get in a car. That's all we do. That's why we have electric bikes. That's why we have this. All those things will start. You can start negotiating with your goals. I'm like, well, I guess it really wasn't that important. Well, I guess it was this, and that conversation will translate into an action. But when you put yourself in an environment like I did, with people who are running half marathons, full marathons, ultra marathons over the weekend versus training all month or all year for that, it changes the game. That environment pushes you. Excuse me, that environment pulls you. Because I thought 12 miles was a lot until I found out the guy ran 70 yesterday and he's getting ready to run another 20 the next day. It dwarfed all of my efforts, but it raised my ambition and raised my positive competitive nature. But it's the same thing with you all. If you're around people and you want to improve your life, you're like, hey man, look, I got this corporate job. I like it, I like it, I like it, but I want to start making more money for myself. Somebody could say something like this, man, why you want to go and do that? And you could be like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Why would I want to do that? And then once they unconsciously, I'm not saying they do this to be mean, they could say something along the lines of, well, yeah. And then they'll see you hesitating. Yeah, man, because you get 2 vacations a year. That's great. Yeah, that's good for them, but is that good for you? But you don't want to get into that thing where you're negotiating your goals. So just be really careful with these things. We're going to 2023, closing out 2022 in about 3 more days. Think about these things. Protect your time, protect your energy, they're everything. Protect them like you do your bank account because that is what's driving you towards your purpose, for your purpose, and with purpose. I'll see you all tomorrow. Don't forget onyourhappy.com/newsletter. Sign up. Got lots more cool things coming. Got lots of changes. And as always, keep it happy, keep it positive.